For me, it was just that all the ladies in my high school were into that D'Angelo video. If you didn't look like that, they weren't into you. So I was like, I don't know how many crunches it's going to take me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Roast of Your Teenage Self podcast. I am your host, your roast-coming queen, got a 5 on my AP US History exam, Alise Morales, and with us today, we have the very funny and talented comedian, actor, voice actor, and writer, former Douglas McKay High School student, Ron Funches.
Go Royal Scots!
Okay, so you guys, that was literally going to be my first question is what was your mascot? It's the Royal Scots.
Yeah, it was a guy in a kilt playing a bagpipe, which to me, if he had to fight a bear or a lion or anything of that nature, he obviously is going to lose. I mean, sure, he does have a shield and a sword, but you know, you don't want to fight a lion with just that and then also have, you know, you get your junk easily.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, but maybe was it that he was like a larger than life Scottish man with this?
No, he was just a regular guy. I mean, by our sports teams, you know, he was just a regular guy. He wasn't doing anything special because we lost most of our games. We were by far the worst high school in the city when it came to sports. So we have a picture of him up right now, and he does have like, I mean, I would say fashion-wise, he's great. Yeah.
He's got a gorgeous green ensemble, like the
He's
hat
wearing a giant yellow M&M, which is cool.
Which, if you're fighting a bear, maybe he throws the M&M, the bear goes for the M&M.
I think he's fighting to hold on to that M&M. I'm not gonna let an M&M that big go to anybody, not even a bear.
Okay, so what was your relationship to your high school at the time? Were you like school spirit, or were you like, fuck this place?
I was a floater, you know. I think I'm the same now as I was then. I had a lot of acquaintances, but not very many friends. You know, I moved around a lot. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, but I went to high school in Salem, Oregon, which was a lot different culture-wise. I came from a place of a lot of hip-hop and a lot of black people, and then I went to a place with a lot of country music and no black people.
Okay.
So
that sounds like an adjustment.
It was quite an adjustment, but I think overall it helped me in my life because it helped me get rid of a lot of prejudices that I had against white people, or and just learn to see people as people and assholes as assholes, you know. And I think that's helped me now, where I'm just same thing, just floater. Go around, I have a lot of acquaintances and just a handful of friends.
So what year did you make that move from Chicago to Oregon?
I don't know, years.
Like what age about? Was it like elementary?
I was 13 years old.
Okay, because I moved from Los Angeles to Virginia when I was 12. And I remember like when I was doing that move, I tried to have like a strategy going in. Like I had like a new friend strategy. And I was my strategy was to lean heavily on that I was from California and just see how far that could take me. But do you remember if you had like a new school strategy when you moved, or were you just like gonna feel it out?
Just like I don't know these people. I don't really like it here. I miss my mom. I was living with my dad and stuff at the time, and so I was just kind of like, I hate it here. But for my thing was just that I was a black guy from Chicago, so for the first week I was very popular. Like all the coaches would come up to me and be like, hey, we want you to come try out for football, come try out for basketball. You know, girls were talking to me, and then they found out. It just took a week for them to realize that I was a nerd with no athletic talent. And once that happened, they just kind of let me go.
That is in many ways the exact experience I had with my California strategy. Like once they realized that I was actually not like I couldn't surf, like I didn't have any cool like attributes, they were done with me. It was over.
Yeah, kids are fickle. But I loved it. I mean, no, I didn't love it. I was about to say I loved it.
I was like, oh my God. Tell me about that. Oh my God.
I mean, it was a formative time. It was nice to go back now and be like, oh, there wasn't that much pressure. I put most of the pressure on myself, you know. But I think when you're a teenager through your mid 20s, everything is kind of more dramatic. Everything is more important because it's new. It's the first time you've ever experienced these things. First time you experience love, the first time you experience heartbreak, and they're all so much more dramatic than they become later in your life, you know?
So do you remember like what was causing you the most anxiety at that time? Was it usually like friend related drama? Was it usually relationship drama? Like,
No, it's family drama mostly. Is that I'd gone from living with my mom and she was in an abusive relationship, and so I left to go live with my dad in Oregon. Found out he was in an abusive relationship with a lady that he had met in Narcotics Anonymous, which is not a place you're supposed to pick up women.
So did that play out in your, like, all this stuff that was going on at home, did that play out in your school life? Were you like causing trouble to get some of that energy out, or did you have like an extracurricular you put a lot of your time into?
No, I was a real slacker for most, like until 16. I was just kind of a nerd, and I would read a lot. I was sitting in front of my locker, ignoring people, reading Moliere and reading J.D. Salinger, just escaping whatever existentialism or whatever type of book that I could get. That was like, oh, okay, this is what I'm into. That's what really changed my high school around, was that after they found out I wasn't in sports and they weren't really paying attention to me, I kind of was just doing regular classes. And then it took my junior year where they were doing some testing and they were like, oh, you should be in some of these advanced placement classes. And once they put me in those, it was a lot more challenged. I had a lot more fun. And that's kind of what kept me going through that, was that AP English class. That was the only time where I was like, oh, I can you'll let me write an essay about outcasts. Cool.
So do you remember like the first assignment that you got where you were like, oh, finally someone's like speaking to me on my level?
Yeah, that'd be that one when we had to just basically find a poem that meant something to us and break it down. And so I picked a song called Synthesizer off of the Outkast, an Outkast album. I don't remember which album. I think it's off of Quemini. But it meant a lot to me. This is a guy named George Clinton, who I love, that was a part of it. And so that was the first time the teacher was also taking us out to like plays, and I was taking trips to Portland from Salem, and that kind of like opened my eyes of like, oh, there's a bigger city here, there's more culture here, there's more diversity here, and that really helped me.
Oh, so once you got into AP at your school, you got to do like special activities and stuff too, and like go and see stuff outside your world. That's cool.
Yeah, that was really what was helpful for me, because I've just never been a fan of, I couldn't do busy work. That's what I applaud my son for. Like, my son actually just turned 17 today. So it's really weird to see, like, when I was doing this and thinking about the differences between him and I at those ages, because, when I was 17, at that point, I was a big stoner trying to like find girls, just trying to do stuff. And my son's so into his homework and so into just like, he's like, oh, I'm glad I'm 17. I can start watching R-rated movies.
Today's episode of the Roast of Your Teenage Self podcast is brought to you by Purple. Purple is improving the way we sleep with their patented technology, the Purple Grid. It's the only comfort innovation that provides total pressure relief, absolute airflow, and ergonomic support. That's because the Grid's open air channels adapt to your natural shape. Natural shape. That's hard to say. Listen, the Grid's open air channels adapt to your natural shape while neutralizing body heat, so you stay comfortably cool all night. Yes, here we are. Once again, it's the ad where I remind you all that I'm a sweaty sleeper, but not with Purple, because the Purple Grid is the only comfort technology that instantly adapts to your body and sleep style, and its open air channels and temperature neutral composition eliminate pressure and keep you cool all at once. So no more sweaty sleeping for me. Every Purple product ships free and is delivered right to your door. So if you're not completely satisfied, you can return your product for a full refund. And Purple is so confident so confident in what they do. Every product comes with a risk-free trial. Purple has financing available as low as 0% APR for qualified customers, and monthly payments are easy on your budget, and there are no hidden fees. Get the mattress. What are you waiting for? Listen. Experience the Purple Grid and you'll sleep like never before. Go to purple.com/teenself10 and use promo code teenself10 for a limited time, and you'll get 10% off your order of $200 or more. That's purple.com/teenself10. Promo code TeenSelf10. That's TEENSELF, the number 1, the number 0, for 10% off any order of 200% or more. Terms apply. How do you keep your mind sharp? If trivia is what keeps you on your toes, you need to play Trivia Star. It's the best way to test yourself. See what random pieces of knowledge you remember from high school. Trivia Star is a free mobile quiz game that's entertaining and challenging, and you can choose categories like music, sports, movies, TV, animals, celebrities, and over 60 others to choose from. So there's always more trivia to explore. If you choose the correct answer from multiple choices and beat the clock, you move on to the next level. It's pretty much a standard trivia game, but the questions get harder over time. So if you get stuck, I'm going to take that line again to whoever's editing this, but the questions get harder over time. Though don't worry, if you get stuck, you can use coins and gems to get a hint and beat the level. And Trivia Star has 2,000 5-star reviews in the Apple Store. Join them today to see if you are smart enough to win. Right now, Trivia Star is offering you 2,500 coins and 500 gems when you download and play. Just go to Apple or Google Store and search for Trivia Star. Again, search Trivia Star and enjoy 2,500 coins and 500 gems. Download Trivia Star for free today. If you're still using one of the big wireless providers this year, have you asked yourself what you're paying for? Between expensive retail stores, inflated prices, and hidden fees, you are being taken advantage of because they know you'll pay. Enter Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile provides the same premium network coverage you're used to, but at a fraction of the cost because everything is online. Mint Mobile saves on retail locations and overhead, then passes those savings directly on to you. Mint Mobile makes it easy to cut your wireless bill down to just $15 a month. Every plan comes with unlimited nationwide and text and talk. With Mint Mobile, stop paying for unlimited data you'll never use. Choose between plans with 3, 8, or 12 gigabytes of 4G LTE data. I assure you, it's enough. I promise. You don't even want to be using your phone that much. We all want to be outside. We want to be present. Come on. Use your phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Ditch your old wireless bill and start saving with Mint Mobile. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get a plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/teenself. That's mintmobile.com/teenself. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/teenself. Did you have like a role model that you were kind of trying to like style yourself out after? Like, oh, if only everyone at my high school thought I was like this person, then I'd have it made. Mine was Avril Lavigne. So.
Oh, I can see that for you.
Yeah, I remember I brought in a picture of her when I was like 15 to get my hair cut, and it was like when she had like the thin blonde like hair that was like dip dyed on the bottom, and I brought a picture of her into the hair salon, and I was like, please make my hair look like this. And my hairstylist had to be like, you are Hispanic. That is never happening for you. We had to have that conversation.
For me, it was just that all the ladies in my high school were into that D'Angelo video where he was, he was shirtless up to the crotch area, so you could see the top of the crotch. Everybody was into that video, and so back then, so like if you didn't look like that, they weren't into you. So I was like, I don't know how many crunches it's gonna take me.
How did you stack up against the D'Angelo video?
Not well at all. It didn't go well. It's probably why I didn't have sex till I was 18.
Was that a high school 18 or out of high school 18?
High school 18. But then, that lady became my wife and the mother of my child. So
oh my God.
waited a little bit longer.
So now I feel like I've like buried the lead on my podcast about high school. So you are married to your high school sweetheart or a high school sweetheart?
I was, not anymore. Yeah, no.
Well, you were married to your high school sweetheart. Was that like your one relationship of high school, or did you have other ones before that? Or was it like you were a high school couple?
That was it. I didn't really talk to girls. I was really shy. I was a very shy person, and I always just kind of had this fear in me of like, oh, I have to, they'll probably say no, so I better, I gotta make sure, and by the time I was done making sure, they moved on, so she was my first girlfriend, and when I was 18, we knew each other we had a screen printing class together, and we just, made fun of each other and hit it off, and she became, went to prom together at 18, and then had my son with her when I was 20, and then we got divorced when I was 30.
I feel like those early, like the art classes in particular, were such fertile ground for flirting and like finding someone, because you always were able to like pair up, and there was like a good amount of downtime in those classes to like mess around and actually talk.
Yeah, that's all it was. If you want to go home ec, if you want to go screen printing, you want to go art, it's really just like who in here is open to fuck, who in here parents haven't gotten them down to not fuck.
Well, at my school, there was also a photography class, and the photography kids got access to the dark room.
Oh, okay.
And I never took photography, but I truly couldn't imagine a more like sexually charged environment than a dark room at that time.
Yeah, I would imagine just being like, let me take a photo of you, and then let's develop it together, and then the next thing you pregnant.
Yes. I remember one time me and my friends, like, we just went in there. We didn't even do anything. We caused zero trouble. I think literally my friend developed a photo, like did what the room was for. And I felt like I was committing a crime the entire time.
Yeah, dark rooms are sexy. It's a shame they're gone, but that's a sexy room. It's just all like just things hanging up on clothespins and red lights. Come on.
Yeah, it's a truly sensual environment. Do you remember any big like scandals of your high school, like a thing that everybody was talking about?
Yeah, of course, multiple scandals. I mean, there's always the like old ladies who got pregnant senior year. Mm-hmm. That's always the thing. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm so happy because I wanted to go out with them because I knew that that I could possibly have sex. But now I'm glad that they turned me down. But the biggest one in my entire high school involved my principal. My principal was kind of nationally renowned because he came up with this program that was basically the snitching program where you would tell on your fellow students if they had like drugs or if they were fighting or whatever, if they're doing anything, and then they would give you money for snitching on your fellow student. And so
the school would give you money?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how much money?
It's like $50.
As a teenager, though, that's so much.
Oh, it turned it into a hellhole, and you couldn't trust nobody because everybody was gonna snitch on each other. Some people would plant stuff on each other, it's crazy like that.
Yeah, well, teenagers are also like, they're petty and they don't know consequences really. So it's like you get an idea in your head and you're like, haha, like I could see teenagers being like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if I told on my friend and got $50, and then it's like your friend is now expelled from school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like the second season of Orange is the New Black before it got like real deep into the stuff, but it's still, some fun things were happening. So he did that. So he was on like 2020. He was on like a lot of different shows, and he got a big head and he was all excited. And he's walking around like the cock of the walk, And then right before I graduated, it was found out that he was sexually harassing several teachers, possibly students and faculty of the school, using his being a principal to intimidate people into having sex with him. And so then he got fired, and then they put a whole thing out about that, and he disappeared. But then guess what? I just thought about this a month ago. So I went to tell my friend, because he's from my same town. And so we went to look it up, and then we found a story from 2018 where he went and found a small town in Oregon to go be a principal of, and then someone whistle blew on him, and then they had to kick him out of that school.
Oh my God. That is so crazy. And I love that ultimately what brought him down was like someone snitched on him.
Yes.
Like you put all this snitching out in the world, and then you get snitched on, sir.
Absolutely. He deserved it.
So do you so this all went down, or at least the first part of this went down while you were still at the school.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember like the day the news broke at school? Or
yeah, we were pretty happy as students because we didn't like him because he made this program that turned students against each other. And then once he got some fame from being on TV, you could see it. He'd walk around with his chest all puffed out. He would just talk mean to students, talk mean to teachers apparently. And so when we found out, we were like, yeah, fuck you. You deserve this.
That is so wild. So did they just get you a new principal in the middle of the year, or did like the vice principal?
Yeah, we had an interim principal, a nice lady. Yeah, she was great. He just disappeared, but they didn't really tell us. We had to go and find out later of why he was gone, So
they didn't address it as a school at all.
No, they were just like, he's gone now.
What principal? We don't. This has always been the principal.
You guys were acting like you loved him just 10 minutes ago.
My high school had a scandal with our principal to a much lesser degree, but basically our principal was this very aloof man, and so they wanted to do like they wanted to do like a thing on his life in the Oakton Outlook, which was our newspaper, so that everyone would like get to know the principal and what his life was about. And in the whole spread, the day that it came out, was that I guess he's like a big game hunter. And the main picture that they chose of him was him holding a dead cougar that he had shot. And our mascot was the Oakton Cougars. And so it was like this insane article that came out of him holding our dead mascot. And the students didn't like it.
I would imagine. And plus, it seems like going to hunting cougars doesn't seem like a fun thing. Well, that doesn't sound tasty meat at all.
No, I don't think that should be happening. And all of us were just kind of like, what the hell? Like, and then a Facebook group sprang up making fun of him, and it was a whole thing.
That sounds fun. That sounds a little less seedy. I like that one.
It was. And me and my friends all wrote in the Facebook group, and we were like, they should stuff the cougar and put it in the front hall. And we would, we thought that was really funny. And so ultimately we turned it into something really positive.
Oh, well, that's what good teens do.
Did you know you wanted to do comedy or performing or acting or any of that at that time? Was that on your radar, or were you on a completely different wavelength?
I mean, comedy has always been on my radar, but not at that point. It definitely was not something I thought was a real job. I knew I had an interest in comedy and working in comedy probably since I was 5 years old, but I was like, this is just a thing. You're born famous. You're born a comedian, I didn't know that about open mics or things like that. But the thing that when I go back in my high school and I look back at it and see that it did kind of prep me for being a comedian is the fact that I did win funniest person in my school. And
it was called Class Clown or
Class Clown. I got a rubber duck. I got all that, but I was never a class clown. Like I was never like the traditional class clown. I wasn't the guy like, oh, let's make fun of the teacher or like get up and throw something like that. I was the guy who would see the class clown and then I would tap my friend on the shoulder and make fun of the class clown. And then I guess I did that to enough people that they were like, actually, you're the funniest one.
Well, that's a huge accomplishment to be able to get class clown without like the whoopee cushions, the fake nose, all of the
Yeah.
stuff that you need to do.
I remember getting it and I was just talking shit. I was just saying how I feel. Like I wasn't joking.
Were you surprised? Because not to toot my own horn, but I also got a superlative. I was voted headed for Hollywood, which just meant like they knew I did the plays. But I remember being really surprised and being like shocked that other people would think of me to write my name down.
Yeah, I remember being shocked when I got my diploma and there was like this big cheer. And I swear to God, at that moment, that was the moment where I go, "Oh, I'm not like a loser." Like I thought my whole high school career, I thought I was unpopular. I thought nobody really liked me, especially since I wasn't dating any girls at all. I thought no one liked me. And then when they heard my name and I heard this like pop, like this cheer, like you get when we're on stage, and I was like, "Oh, no, they like me." I go, "I wish I had known that 4 years ago."
Yeah. Imagine the power if you had realized at the time. Does your high school acknowledge you at all now? Like, have they asked you to come back? Are you on their notable alumni? Anything like that?
I don't know if they know how to reach me. I do know I went to Phoenix recently and I saw a guy wearing a McKay jacket, and he came up to me and he had a couple of things for me to sign, and he's like, "I want you to sign these things." He's like, "I went to McKay." He's like, "I went, he went like 5-7 years after me, but he was like, 'You're the most famous person that went to McKay.'" And I was just like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, I was like, "Are you the most notable alumni? Would you
the most notable people in all of Salem, Oregon? Our three, we have 3 famous people, one of which is probably, I mean, I would say, objectively still more famous than me. Napoleon Dynamite is from my town. There's a and one basketball player named the Professor. He was when I don't know if you're familiar with the and one basketball.
I'm not.
Okay, well, there's regular basketball, and then they made this whole thing called and one, where it was just street ball and people doing tricks. And there was a white guy who was very tiny named Grayson, and they called him the Professor. And so for a long time, he was the most famous person from where I was from, and now it's me.
Wow, from where I'm from, the most famous people from my high school are the couple. They're called they were the Salahis, and they broke into a White House dinner when Obama was in office. Under Obama, they crashed a White House dinner with the Prime Minister of India, and they both went to my high school and were high school sweethearts at my high school.
They sound kind of like jerks, though.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was not cool what they did. Like,
you go crash in White House dinners. That's how people die.
I think also Obama was like new in office, and it made him look bad. They were like, "You're not even paying attention to who's coming to the dinners." So it was not cool what they did. I hope to someday overtake them as the
you will.
Thank you. Okay. We're coming up on the end here, but I do like to ask one final question, which is, if you could talk to your high school self and give them any piece of advice, any piece of wisdom, what would you say to your high school self?
That doesn't matter. That none of this matters. It's all a temporary part of your life. To enjoy this part of your life, because these are some fun friendships that you can make and enjoy and learn a lot from. But overall, that none of this is as serious as you make it out to be, that you hope that you're going to have a long and fruitful life. And so that this is just the beginning of it, and never let a 4-year period of any type, whether it be high school, college, prison, whatever you're going through, never let that define who you are. Because, during that time period, I had no idea that I would end up here, end up in TV and stuff like that. Like I was talking to my fiance now, where it's just like, during that time period, after I had my son, my early 20s and stuff, I was very poor. And I remember doing coffee house shows in my hometown to just passing a hat around, trying to get enough money so that I could bring my son home a Happy Meal, just to make sure that I had something to show when I came back home. And then now, because of a movie, I'm a Happy Meal toy. Like
that's so crazy. That's beautiful. That's your version of your positive version of your snitching principal getting snitched on ultimately. And if you had to, like, I know it's hard to say, but if you had to say, like, would you say that you enjoyed your high school experience, or could you take it or leave it?
I think I didn't enjoy it. No, I did not enjoy it. But I would say that you don't have to enjoy all your experiences. You still learn from them and get a lot from them. I learned a lot about myself. You learned a lot about culture. You learned a lot about how to be an individual while living in a groupthink situation, and that's something that we have to do in all of society. But I think in high school, that's when it's at its most. That's when you kind of look to your left, look to your right before you laugh at something, before you decide something is cool, before you decide if it's something that you are really interested in. And I think because I moved around a bunch, because it was such a different high school from where I came from, it let me know very quickly that I could just like whatever I want, that I could be myself, and that there's a power and a value to that. And I think that's helped my comedy and helped my career immensely.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And I really agree with this kind of idea that, going back to what you were saying before about, like, you don't need to take it as seriously. I remember my high school self, I felt like my high school was the entire world. And it has this way of, like, making you feel like all of these people are people you're stuck with forever. Like, the way your life is now, it's going to be like this forever. And that's also the one thing that I would probably say to myself is, like, there's so much left to happen. This is such a small blip of your life.
Yeah, they're just ships passing by, and hopefully you hold on to a couple of them. But to be honest, if you friends with everybody from your high school, you probably a fucking loser. So, like, it's like, if that's where you peak, that's not a good place to peak. So to me, if you're in high school now, if you're like, I'm hating it, I'm not fitting in, it's not for me, just know that that's a good feeling. That's the right feeling. It's not right to be like, oh, this is the best time of my life.
Yeah, you should want to leave. You should want to get it over with and get on to the next best thing.
Yeah, don't peak in high school.
Don't peak in high school. And I think that's a good place for us to end it. Ron, thank you so much for coming on the pod. It was awesome to talk to you.
It's a pleasure.
And for everybody else, this has been the Roast of Your Teenage Self podcast.